Well, thank you very much, Nikki, and thank you all for coming to Madrid. It's my city. I love it. It's full of energy, and I'm hoping you're experiencing the energy somehow. Still, you got a day and a half to go, so save some of your power for the end. My name is, I'm going to be talking about education and technology, and this is a little bit about me, not because I want you to know me, but so that you understand why am I going to be talking about what I'm going to be talking about. I've spent my life working as an executive, like most of you, but 12 years ago, I founded a business school based in digital education, trying to make sure that the world could actually keep the pace with what's going on. And I was very lucky that when joining Google, Google let me actually found my own company at the same time that I was joining Google to lead here in Spain, Portugal, and the Middle East, all the operations for Google. The most important thing of that presentation is, number one, I'm an optimist around technology, like Luigi. And the second one is that I've been married for 23 years, which in an exponential life is really remarkable, I have to say. So let me start by basically making a little game here, and let's try to imagine all together what you've been talking about this morning. So let's imagine that we're here, like we are here, and let's imagine that all these doors are fully locked, and all in a sudden there is a drop of water that comes down. We keep talking, next minute there is 2 drops of water falling down. We keep talking, you keep listening, 4 drops of water after 1 minute. We keep going, 1 more minute, 4 minutes, 8 drops of water. So 4 minutes, 15 drops of water. We keep going and we keep playing that game. What is it that is going to be happening at the very end if water cannot get out of here? Can you say it? You pessimistic people? Yes, we will die. We will be drowning here because we're doubling the amount of water. And actually, we're picturing an exponential line like all the exponential lines that you've been talking about this morning. Now, the question for you is, how much time before we die together in Madrid? How much time? Who would say days? Who would say that we would be still alive tomorrow? Raise hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's about 5%. Who would say hours? That's basically another 15%. Who would say minutes? And that's about another 15%. There's a 50% of the audience that does not know anything, or basically is tired and does not want to raise the hand. The answer approximately is going to be 32 minutes. So in 32 minutes, we will be dead if this exercise was true. Now, the second question for all of you, and Jose Antonio, you need to shut up because you know the answer, is in minute 28, so just 4 minutes before dying, what percentage of this room is going to be filled with water? Let's see, intelligent ex-P&Gers. If you can do your maths, anyone can tell me the answer, minute 28? 30%. No, it's even less. 100 is minute 32. 50% of the room will be filled with water minute 31. 25% in minute 30. 12.5% minute 29. Minute 28, only 6.25% of this room will be filled with water. Now that is quite amazing, right? Because 4 minutes after minute 28, we will be dead, and probably none of us, even though that we've been talking about exponentiality here, would actually realize that we were about to die. And this actually should ask ourselves and pose ourselves some questions. Not only the fact that we're following an exponential line, but it's even more important. We human beings were not designed to think exponential. Actually, the word is not designed. We have not been trained to think exponential. Children at low ages, they think exponential. But you guys and girls, like me, we've been educated in a world in which we've been taught to become less creative, and we've been taught to think linear. I still remember those P&G days in which we would actually create frameworks to make decisions by minimizing our potential risks. It was all about being more linear. It was all about creating a record in which we could actually increase sales by 3%, or 2%, or reduce costs next year by 2%. But no one of us would ask ourselves, what if we double sales? What if we created something? Why not? Those what if or why not are the questions that, by the way, your children ask yourselves when they are 5 or 6 years old. They think exponential. You guys and I, we think linear because we have been very badly manufactured. And this world, as you've heard, is surrounded now by exponential curves all over the place. This is the amount of people that are today in the internet, 5 billion people connected to the internet, of which only this year, 600 million people are going to be joining this new game of internet, which means that 18 Spains altogether came to internet only in 2019, which means that all these companies that we've been talking about before, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they are accessing a market which is 18 times Spain, making business with 18 Spains altogether in 1 year. And there is exponentiality also in this world of information, which is the digital revolution that I talk a lot about, in which you see that producing information, storing information in a world that everybody is accessing to, it's actually reducing cost and trending to zero. The world that I live in, which is the digital world in which the common denominator is information, that's the token, zeros and ones, that information, when it comes to time to process that information, store that information, we have diminishing cost also at exponential rate. So the consequence is clear. The amount of information that we have up there is huge as you wouldn't be able to actually understand. Your linear thinking will not allow you to understand how much information there is today in the internet. This is a good example. If we took all the information being generated by humanity since we started talking to each other back 30,000 years ago, and we took all the conversations being held by human beings, all the movie production, all the radio broadcasting, all the TV production, all the manuscripts, all the printed books since Gutenberg invented the print machine, all that can be stored in 5 exabytes, which today are created in 6 hours. 98% of all the information that human beings have been able to create happened in the last year and a half. This is really stressing. But to me, what matters is, what does technology to all of us? This is the Pope Benedict XVI in the Vatican. You see people there taking a look at the Pope in the Vatican, Catholic people, very, very emotional at the point. And 8 years later, because this drop in cost, same moment, same people, same sentiment, and what happened with technology, technology allowed people to actually experience and behave in a different way, despite the fact that it was the same place, just a different Pope, Francis. And then 3 years later, the first woman that could ever have become President of the United States, same situation, but technology allowed actually to have a camera in the front part of the mobile phone, therefore people changed behavior. So this is just a funny example, but guys, all of you, even though that you're not all of you millennials, but some of you are oldennials, which is I feel like an oldennial, don't you? It's great. We're going to talk about that. You're going so fast. World is moving so fast that you don't have the time to think. And if you think about how behavior is changing around there, it's amazing. Everything has changed. The way we inform ourselves. Google gets every day 6 billion searches. By the way, they make $120 billion with that business. 1.2 searches per user per day for that business. But the key thing is that when you go to Google to ask for something, you get an answer in milliseconds. When you communicate now, you use whatever tool to communicate, but you want an answer. You want something fast. When you socialize, you want instant recognition of belonging to a group. When you entertain today, Think about 10 years ago. Today, no. Today, you want to watch a series. You were talking about Black Mirror before, Luigi. If I want to watch a TV series now, Black Mirror Chapter 4, Season 3, I go to Netflix and I get it immediately. And of course, the way we transact has changed dramatically. I don't know whether you know that in the US, same-day delivery is growing 3% month after month. And that is because some people like Amazon have realized how to actually bridge the gap between virtual and real. And now it's not only information, but also product and services that are getting a lot closer to us a lot faster. And this all connected to a huge mega computer, which is in the internet, which is also increasing capacity, doubling capacity of output every 18 months. And also with something which is called mobile phone that all of you have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 90% of the people in the Western world, the last thing they take a look at is the mobile phone. The first thing they take a look at when they wake up, mobile phone. They take a look at that 500 times a day. All that connected to a mega computer actually makes this society a different one. And this is where I want to get to. All this change in behavior is actually now putting in front of us a society which is more connected, more powerful, more knowledgeable, busier, and the most important thing, with greater expectations. Why? Because technology has allowed people to desire something and getting fulfilled immediately. And that is something that we need to cope with. Not only that, the distance between desire and fulfillment has come so close that technology has allowed also to do like this, in which technology is now able to understand which is the next thing that you are about to desire. So when I'm having breakfast, 8 a.m. in my house, I get notification from Google saying, don't go through Maria de Molina to work. Go through Concha Espina because you're going to save 5 minutes. Say, wait, I didn't desire to go to work yet. But I'm going to be desiring to go to work in 5 minutes. And you're telling me that you're saving me another 5 minutes of my day to become more productive, or whatever. But technology is also getting there. And this has huge implications to all of you, to all of us. Let's talk about just the implications that it has for business people. Because again, remember, we've been very badly trained. And we have not been trained to actually answer to a society that works like this. This society wants companies, people, to be there, to be useful, and to be quick. And again, we're not designed to do that. We're coming from the industrialization in which we basically develop products based on market norms, and then we take our time to actually launch a product. Today, we're in a world in which trying something is a lot cheaper than not trying something. And the way we need to manage that is different to how we were taught in Procter & Gamble to say something, but it's very different to the way we were taught to do things, and we're taught to do things today. The environment is changing. There is nothing as a norm anymore. Do you remember how we used to like the norm? And we would love to have normalized data? That's gone. That's gone. You're in a world, you wake up and things are more volatile, more uncertain, more complex, and more ambiguous. And that has huge implications. In business, huge implications. And we need to cope that. And we need to prepare ourselves. The average age here, I'm going to be generous, probably 39.5 years old. And so in average, we still have another 20 years to go, 25 years to go to enjoy life. Are we prepared with this environment? Maybe not. This relearning thing applies to all of us. We will need to take a look at our business skills. Are they the right ones to be successful? No matter if you are, still an executive or an entrepreneur like myself, you need to be constantly rechecking your skills because they last for only 5 years, in average. You need to take a look at your tech skills. That doesn't mean you need to be an engineer, but you need to understand what technology does to business and to yourself. And of course, leadership changes a lot. Why does it change? because you need to be in organizations that are taking a lot of decisions in very short amount of time. Because if you want to be there and be quick, you need to take decisions. If you want to take decisions, you cannot wait till the very end of the pyramids for someone to take that decision on your behalf to actually minimize the risk implied in that decision. So leaders of today are different. They need to actually manage by context. They need to be transparent. They need to share. They need to find the information and circulate it. They need to be challenging others. And of course, they need to be influencing. And they need to be engaging with people like in the past. And they need to be humble. This is my office. I remember the day I was promoted to level 3 in Procter & Gamble. You know why? Because I got my office. I got a window office, and I had been looking for that for a long time. You know what? That's bullshit nowadays. That's my office today. I don't even have a chair. I'm a chairman without a chair. Today, even I fall down. I think someone moved it, and I sat down this morning, and I fell down. And I said to people, guys, you're taking this too far. There's only 60 places for 70 people that work in the Madrid office, and I need to find my place every time I get there in the morning, and I get there early, but then when I stand up and go to a meeting room, when I get back, I don't have my chair anymore. What happens? It happens that I talk to people that I don't not normally talk with, and it happens that if I'm part of projects in which they are, I'm just one more of the team. And even though I am the chairman of the company, it doesn't matter. I'm one more. You need to be humble to actually make sure that they take a lot of decisions on your behalf. Why? Because there's more to come. I'm so glad this morning you understood the concept of exponentiality in technology, because I don't have all the time to go through all of these. But this is so cool. It's so cool to see what's happening with artificial intelligence. You heard this morning about this. I love it. I think it's going to rule the world in a different way if human beings are able to actually channel it properly. I think that big data is really important because of artificial intelligence and blockchain. By the way, I can talk about blockchain. All I can say here in 1 minute, in 30 seconds, is that blockchain is going to do to transaction as much as internet has done to information. And that is actually swing a lot of business models and erase a lot of industries that are based today on following and tracking transactions. What's happening with robotics? You've heard about it, exponential. What's happening with the energy world, by the way, this is really exponential and really cool because singularity is coming into energy. Energy today, did you know that 1 hour of sun could actually serve the whole needs that we have on Earth for a year? If we were capable of storing that energy and distributing that energy through the year, 1 hour of sun, free of emissions, almost free, if we got that energy. I love that kind of world in which people will not starve and will not actually die of thirst. This is a beautiful world in which we are killing each other because we envy each other, but not because we're hungry. All the changes that we're seeing in 3D printing, or what I call, decentralized manufacturing, this is beautiful. Did you know that, we're printing meat already, we're printing tissues, and we're printing a lot of things, cars, houses. How far are we from actually printing our liver or our heart without emotions? What about nano and biotech? Exponential. This is changing exponentially. And that is why many people are saying that in 2030, 85% of the jobs will not exist. I don't like that. I like saying that 85% of the tasks that we do today will not exist. But actually, if we're intelligent enough, we will reshape our capacity to create new jobs. This is full of opportunities. And if we want to grasp them, we basically need to prepare ourselves. And I'm not talking about you as business executives. I'm talking about you as parents or uncles. And the need that you have to understand this society to make sure that you drive education in the proper way. And education is something that is coming today from the Industrial Revolution. Education today does not understand that the best teacher in the world is just one click away. Education today is something that is set as a standard by public education. If public education works in the world, education will work all over the place, because we private companies will try to over experience the public education system. Now, we need to understand and take all that into consideration, and also bearing in mind that it's not only about science, technology, engineering, and maths. It's about having a Renaissance spirit, the capacity to put everything in contact and in relation, like it did happen back in the 16th century. And finally, I want to end up by sharing with all of you that education will need to be reshuffled from scratch in the whole world if we want to make this society understand how to think exponentially and how to survive in this world. So we will need an education that goes from standard to personal. No more line. No more, I'm 12 years old, I need to understand this, this, and this. It needs to be personalized. And we can do that because we have the technology, and we could convert the figure of professor into the figure of tutor. You know what I think, and I've been invited to actually, I'm not a very popular person here in Spain because I'm one of the people saying that we should basically destroy all the education system and rebuild it from start. And one of the things we need to do is actually put the teacher as one of the most important pieces of our society all over the world. You are a teacher at primary school? Oh my God, good for you. It's not like you work at Procter & Gamble. No, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher at public school. And I did a huge job, because being a teacher means that I need to have a T-shape. I need to be an expert in math, but I need to understand all other subjects to make sure that I actually become a tutor of every student. I don't think there should be more than 8 students per teacher in public education. So it's a radical shift of the way education system is working right now. And by the way, we need to basically take schools as they are today and change it completely. And I went 2 minutes away of my presentation. I love this subject. If I had an hour, I would actually deep dive in every one of these topics. But I want to end by saying that I am 50 years old. I'm raising the average here. I'm an old Daniel, and I am an old Daniel because my mind is 30 years old and getting lower every year. Getting lower every year. And to do that, I wake up every morning feeling a lot more excited than uncomfort. Please do the same. Thank you very much.